Fields. If you've ever heard of Proactive, those are the doctors that do Rodan and Fields. It's a skincare, it's anti-aging. I like to tell people I'm really 70 years old. Just looking to grow my business, looking to grow and have more customers and maybe some team members. So if you know anybody, send them my way.
All right, that's good to have you here. Let's get a Karen, you want to grab the mic or you just want to speak from back there? What do you want to do?
I'll stand from here.
Okay.
I'm Karen Shea. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I am a fee-only financial planner. I've been in the business 40 plus years. I really am 70 years old. 73, but I know I don't look. What a fee-only financial planner means is I don't charge commission. I got nothing to sell. I am free to give independent advice. I'm not tied to any companies. And I am free to tell any of you to go to no-load mutual funds and how to do it. And what you do is you pay me for my time, and I work on a sliding scale depending on what you can afford.
All right, very good, very good. Margarita, you want to stand up? You want to come up front? All right.
My name is Ana Margarita Gels. Any problems in question about taxes? Call Ana Margarita Gels, 914915813. 4812, and any problems or question or you like to start speaking Spanish, I have Spanish class too. Thank you. Again, Margarita Gels.
Thank you, Margarita. That's one thing. I use her name 2 or 3 times a week out there when I go to his Spanish restaurant when he went to drink. I take it. And a margarita. All right. Pat, please. You want to stand up and say something?
Yeah. I need the mic, that's okay. I'll just holler. I'm Pat Patterson. I'm with Engage Brand Marketing, and I do brand marketing. So, to Joe's point, to Eric's point, change is upon us constantly, and nothing has changed more rapidly, really, than the marketing field with the web, social media, and so many other things. We used to do things traditionally that everybody understood, radio, TV, and print, but I like to do an integrated approach that incorporates all of those, and so that's what I do and why I'm here, and it's Pat at engagebrandmarketing.com. But I'm also here in support of my dear friend and client, Gina Davis, who's going to speak with you today. I've been helping her with her development of her concept of findvendorboost.com.
And you did all the artwork.
Did the artwork. She's the brains of the organization. But anyway, that's what brings me here. That's a pleasure to be here.
Well, great. Thank you, Pat, so much for coming. All right, so you going to introduce our speaker?
Can you hold the mic?
Yes, I can, please.
Okay. Oh, and we have more guests coming in. Yay. Gina Davis is the CEO and founder of Custom Growth Group LLC, along with several other projects. She has, over the last 30 years, had experience in sales and marketing. Gina began her entrepreneurial journey in 2009, creating a follow-up system that she still uses today. As her business grew, she stepped into other areas of marketing and eventually coaching. In 2016, Gina earned a certification in business and marketing coaching. Her current focus is one of her subsidiaries, Find Vendor Booths. This startup helps vendors/creators, creatives, business owners, direct sales, and nonprofits who set up vendor space at festivals, fairs, expos, and increase their profitability at these types of events. Gina's goal is to turn Find Vendors Booth into an international company and become a one-stop resource for everything vendor booth event marketing in the industry. Today's conversation is setting up a vendor's booth relevant for my business, product or not. Here's how. Let's give a round of applause for
All right,
Gina.
Okay, good. I'll turn it off then. Here you go, dear.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to let you know and start with that I've had this conversation in my podcast a few times, but for a formal speech, I had to kind of scramble it all together. So y'all are actually my guinea pigs for this. So y'all let me know afterwards how it went. So let's start with, how many here have set up vendor booths, or actually are currently setting up vendor booths? Okay, that's fine. I kind of expected that it might be a few, or none. Okay, how many have tried it, maybe successfully, maybe unsuccessfully in the past? And I'm assuming everyone's here today, or here either to support me, or here today maybe to find out if there is a way to actually do this so that it's relevant for your business. Now, I've got a couple more questions. We're all got a business here, correct? And you have a business model, correct? Now let me ask you this, or let me go with this. In your business model, that's about determining how your company makes your profit. So there's a few things that you have to look at when you do that. You have to look at, you have to understand, know and understand what your products and services are. You also have to know and understand who your target audience is. And the last thing you have to understand is, where am I going to find my target audience? And that's what our conversation is about today. So what we're really talking about here is the marketing plan. And you're probably rolling your eyes and groaning now, marketing plan, do I really want to hear about this? So let's face it, if you haven't already figured it out, just know that you just can't build it because they are not going to come. That means that you have to have a way to get your products and services out to your target audience. That is the marketing plan. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. He's standing over there, he's big, bright, and pink. Y'all everybody see him? Yeah. If you're doing it digitally, it does not matter. You might be thinking, oh, I'm just going to get a website or Etsy or whatever's relevant for your website. But it's the same thing whether you're doing it digitally or you're doing it face to face. You have to have that plan. Please refer back to my previous Kevin Costner statement. Just because you build it, they're not going to come. Now, we're going to talk about how you can actually be relevant when you're doing your digital marketing. But I do need a little more foundation. So what I would like to hear from y'all is some of the ways that you are currently marketing yourself that are not vendor booth event marketing. Yes.
Oh, no, I'm just.
Sold to the lady in the wheelchair. Yes, tell me about how you do yours, because you have a very interesting way you market your business.
Well, I do commercials. I do live commercials, and to me that gets a nice response because it's organic, it's raw, it's not orchestrated, it's no script, it's come as you are. The people feel comfortable, especially those who may be a little insecure about speaking live because I don't come with all of the extra stuff or traditional way of doing things for a commercial. It eases some of their stress out. And then with me being a retired English teacher, I kind of coach them through how to answer the questions without intimidating them. So that's one of the approaches I use that helps me with marketing.
Excellent, excellent. So I know there's a couple people here that do B&I. So that's one way to market your business. Anybody have another way they would like to share?
Blog.
Blogs. Oh, excellent. So all these are ways that you market your business. Let me ask you this. The first time you blogged, Nita, way back whenever that was, do you feel like you got it right the first time?
No.
The second time? The third time? And every marketing thing you did it not take you time and money to figure out, maybe both of them, to figure out am I doing this the right way? So where I want to go with this is when it comes to vendor booth event marketing, you got to realize trying it once or twice is really not an effective way of determining whether this works for you or not. And here's the thing. If you look at the history of marketing, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even today, one thing is clear, that time and that money has not changed. That figuring it out whether or not that marketing strategy works. So it's really important that you understand that it takes time to figure out your marketing plan. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a little more about your target audience. One of the things I want to know is what an ideal target audience could be for you. And I would love for you, the couple people that I asked, to be very specific. And everyone is an incorrect answer. Lynn, tell me a little bit about your target audience.
I do best with responsible people that want to be properly insured, and love homeowners, love investors. I am one, and love to help investors with their rental properties.
Excellent, excellent. Pat, tell me a little bit about your target audience.
Well, it's so broad because it's basically people who want to buy and sell houses, and they could come from any business, they could come from any walk of life, any geographic location. So I'm really spread out.
Okay, thank you. So the next step is when you're trying to determine what festival or expo that you're doing is that you've got to really, really know your target audience. And most festivals and expos are geared towards a particular target audience. They're going to have potentially the target audience. They're going to know who it is, and they're going to be addressing all their content to those type of people. So what you've got to do is you've got to determine from what your demographic is, if this festival is one that would fit for you. Now, find vendor booths, member access. One of the things that we do is we put demographics into our list so that you know whether that might be a potential one for you. And one of those is target audiences. So one of the things that I've done as a coach is I use a buyer persona template. Pat, listen to me. Nita, do you want to pass out that template? So I give this free to all my clients. So anybody that would like to have this buyer persona template, you're welcome to actually take one. So let me ask you, who knows what a buyer persona is? I know you know, Eric.
Yeah, I have a hunch.
Would you like to share? Would you like to share what a buyer persona is?
It really is, if you will, using the current terminology, it's almost an avatar.
Yeah.
If you had to describe in detail who you want to talk to, who you want to sell to, that's where it's coming. So it's not only, it's everything, what they look like, what they like to do, where they're at. All those details can let you make better decisions.
They do. They do. And you're welcome to that. I've also got a digital version. You'll be able to access that so that if you want to use this for your buyer, your avatars, you're welcome to have a digital version of it. Well, I'd like to keep on going talking about just a little bit more about the target audience and stuff. So I have a story for you. So way back in the beginning of this, Rick, he's a remodeler. He's the one that got me started on this. If you know me, I've shared that a few times. Well, we were looking at a farm and tractor event show that was going to be happening north of Memphis. I think it was in Dyersburg. And we identified that the target audience at that event was most likely going to be men. Well, he theorized that, men are going to be dragging their women with them, and they're going to be bored, and they're going to probably walk into my beautiful air-conditioned mobile showroom. But what we didn't think about or even realize is the women didn't even show up. So here's actually probably what happened. Husband goes up to the wife and goes, "Honey, I'm going to go out to the farm and tractor show this weekend. Do you want to go with me?" The woman's going, "Oh, get the weekend to myself?" Calmly, she turns around, she says, No, honey, you just take the kids and you go have fun. That ended up being a great example of when we had to do that process of elimination to figure out that particular type of event that was targeted towards men was not an appropriate event for him. Well, there was another event that we did together, and again, it was out in one of the outskirt towns. And we quickly determined that also we had to add the demographic around what is the median income for the area, and did that fit his demographics? So what you'll have to do is you have to know what your demographics are, and that buyer persona will help you to develop that more strategically. Because this is really, really important when it comes to actually picking your festivals and your expos. Okay, so far number one, we a detailed picture, or that it's important to have a detailed picture of your target audience. 2, we ID that you have to know that target audience so you can ID the events that target audience will be at. So now you're ready to start getting ready for the event. You've done all your prep work, you know which one expo that you want to go to, and you buy the booth, and it's happening in September. When do you get started to get ready for that event? July.
The day before.
October 1.
Today.
Okay. I hope that you don't wait till the last minute to get ready. My recommendation is start creating a timeline as soon as you buy your booth. Now the ideal is if you haven't ever bought the booth, if you have done this before and you don't have a timeline, you need to go on and create one. You can reuse that timeline to figure out and keep you on track when you're doing all your events. And it's really important that you have that kind of thing going on. Here's the thing. There's going to be tons of to-dos in that list. And I want you to be sure you use the smarter goal system to actually make sure that those are actionable, that you're getting them done. So I'm sure everybody knows what the SMART goals are. Do y'all know what the smarter goals are?
Explain them. Tell us.
Well, it's the SMART. If you know what the SMART goes, you got the first part of it done. But when you get down to the ER, one of the things I noticed when I was doing goals that was always constantly missing is when do you evaluate it? When do you review it? This is as important, reviewing and evaluating what you did. And we've recently introduced plan, do, and review system into our system to do that. And it makes it very effective that when you look at your goals, if you plan them, you do them, and you review them, then you're doing that smarter goal system. So we just established that a timeline needs to be developed to reuse for every event. In the next one, we're going to talk about creating a checklist. So I have a story to share with you. I had a friend that was on the podcast, and she shared with me that she had someone, or she found someone that was at one of these events, and she had forgot her square peg. How was that event going to be for her that day? Because she forgot. If she had had her checklist, she wouldn't have had that problem. Well, luckily my friend was able to save the day for her, but yes, where would have she been that day? Probably not been able to make very many sales because she couldn't take credit cards. Okay, it's the day of the event. Okay, everything's been going good. You're up to the event. Everything's been going great. And now you've got everything set up. You're sitting down behind your table. You've got your table there. You've got everything on your table. And people are just walking by you, ignoring you. They're not even hardly glancing at you. Okay, so these are 3 things I want you to think about prior to setting up your booth. What are you going to do to attract people into your booth? How are you going to qualify them? And how are you going to make sure you get their contact information so that you can follow up later? These are 3 things you've got to think about back in the time when you're working on that timeline thing. So the first thing is that description of what you did for your booth was all wrong. Does anybody know what was wrong with that scenario? They were sitting behind the booth. The table was here. I'm walking by here.
They're sitting.
2 things. Sitting behind. You're sitting, and you're behind the table. When you're behind the table hides you.
It's a stopgap. When you sit down, when you have a table between you and your audience, that is a stopgap. It's really critical you push your table to the back of the booth. You move up to the front, stand, and yes, I understand some people have challenges with standing. So and I'm one of those people, an hour and a half and my whole leg goes numb. I broke my leg and so it goes numb. But it's still important for you to get as close to eye level as you can with your audience. I recommend buying one of those tall chairs if you have to sit down. But really, if you can stand, that's what you need to do. So now you've got your booth set up, you've got things laid out as a maker creative, you've got your things out of the way so they can naturally come into your booth. as a service provider, you're still gonna have some difficulty getting them into the booth, right? You don't have anything pretty there for them to go and look at. What you need to do is create an inviting atmosphere. And one of the things I recommend is, well, if you have a bigger booth, this works really well. You've got the table pushed back. You probably have room for 3 chairs there. But the chairs are not for you. They're for you to invite the people in. Maybe you got a little rug. Come and kick up your feet and sit down for a few minutes. Or maybe if you have a tight little booth, what you could do is you could have one of those little air misters going inside your booth, not outside of it, inside your booth, with a big jug of Coca-Cola water. Invite them to be refreshed for those hot days. Now, what if you're indoors? Can't do that indoors. Here's the one the tactic that we're going to be using, because we're like y'all, service, no problem. Get one of those tall tables. Get one of those round, supercharger fast for the mobile devices. Where do you think everybody's going to be standing? They're going to be standing right there at your charging their little phones up. Guess what? That gives you a quick opportunity to qualify those people to see if what you're providing, the service that you have, is something that they need. Now that's a second question, is qualifying. You have to have those questions that qualify people. So maybe you want to do a giveaway. Especially if you're a service-based company, you want to make sure your qualifying questions put people into about 3 different ABC leads. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to be wasting your time on people that are not really interested in your product. Again, for the service-based companies, when it comes to getting the contact information, you've got to have some kind of incentive to actually get them to give you your information. We guard our contact information so jealously these days. So some ideals are, you could do the giveaway, that's a really good one. But I have a friend on one of the podcasts that shared with me that she uses a bowl of candy. I was like, really? Does that really help? She said, well, my target audience are women, and they always typically have their kids with them. So I have this bowl of candy there. The kids are going, Mommy, 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 I want to be candy. So the mom goes over to the booth owner and says, can we have some candy? Well, that gives her that perfect little opportunity to ask that qualifying question so that she can actually see whether that's something. So that she's drawn people into her booth. Now, the contact information, you're going to have to give them something a little on the juicy side so that they'll give you your contact information. So maybe you're a maker, maybe you do art. So you could always give like an incentive around, well, here are 10 ways that you can showcase art in a home so that you have the most beautiful home. Or if you're a lawn maintenance guy, maybe it's 10 ways for you to do your lawn maintenance in an hour. I don't know if that would be realistic, but you see where I'm trying to go with that. The other thing is maybe if you can afford a few little promo items, get something that really has a lot of weight that people will like. I'm back to that smartphone thing again. People always need to recharge their phones. So there's those little card things, you can put your logos and stuff on it, and they're fairly inexpensive. So if you can afford a really inexpensive promo item, then you can use those things in exchange for getting their contact information. I'm also going to caution you, you need to ask permission to contact them. Even if you ask for the contact information, you should always ask, is it okay if I follow up with you later this week? So that really kind of brings me to the end of this. Find Vendor Booths is your one-stop resource for everything vendor booth event marketing. And here's how we want to help you, or help the people that you know that set up vendor booths. We have a Find Vendor Booth membership. It's a yearly access to, last year we had 164 events here in the Mid-South. We do divide this up by demographics. We like to let you know what your target audience is and who the vendor types is, the person that wants. And in the future, we're going to be adding more and more demographics as we can build out our database. That is 12 months, $144. It's basically $12 a day, but it is paid annually.
$12 a month.
$12 a month, excuse me, yeah.
Big difference.
Big difference. We also are doing podcasts, so things like this, maybe where you want to delve deeper into how to actually do this successfully, we're definitely exploring on the podcast. Also, we're answering whatever questions you might have, specific questions that you might have. We do interviews with both experts that can help the vendor booth people and the people that are actually doing it and doing it successfully. Lastly, we have a quarterly newsletter that we're putting out that really just gives you a lot of good information, tells you what events we're hosting. Matter of fact, we've got one coming up in August that I still got to talk to someone about. And lastly, I have a survey. Nita, if you don't mind passing up a survey. One of the things that is our goal is we want to be the industry place that people come to get their vendor booth event marketing. There's stuff out there right now for like the big trade shows and stuff. There is nothing for people that do festivals and fairs and expos. And we want to be that, but we're only going to be that if y'all help us build that out. And so we're asking, one, to fill out the survey today, and two, if you would be as kind to let us do surveys with you at a later time. Lastly, if you have any questions on membership, podcast, newsletter, or the survey, Pat or I will be glad to help you with that. And now that I'm done, if there are any questions, we've got time for that, correct? 3 minutes?
There's time.
Go for it.
A very successful trade show that I participated in probably 15 years ago is one of the wedding trade shows.
Yes.
And at that time, it didn't bring enough revenue. You know, it's a hefty fee to participate,
Yeah.
and it didn't bring enough revenue. But I'll tell you what, they still market me. I get that it's probably automated, but what would get me to do it again is if they could send me results from other insurance companies. Now, is there any way you get feedback from the vendors where you can say, hey, we had this person who made candles and they participated at this event, and
So-
here's their results?
So we actually have had that question several times, and in our building out our future database, that's one of the things that we want to add. We're kind of envisioning that when you do an event, then you would log into a secure place and you would come in and you would tell people things like, well, we paid this much for the booth. Well, we may not be able to do that. We may not be able to tell that because the event organizer might not like that. But they can say, I brought this much in product. I expected to sell this much. This is what I sold. I did. If I had an opportunity to do this event again, yes, I would. For a service-based person, they might say, well, I went with the expectation of getting this many leads. I got this many, and I converted this many. Which actually the conversion rate doesn't have anything to do with the event, it actually has everything to do with the person that's doing the converting. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and kind of piggybacked on that, and this might not be your organization's chore, but I would hate to sign up for an event where there are 5 other Allstate agents, or 20 insurance agents where, I mean, even 20 insurance agents,
So-
I'm the only Allstate one would be
So
fine,
my recommendation there is at this point, we would like in the future to develop some kind of relationship with the event organizers in such a way that like we get the first, you know, our people that are part of the Fine Vendor Booth membership get their first option in kind of thing. And one of those things that I've noticed, even back when I was doing send out cards back in the day, is I was very clear when I talked to the event organizers that I don't want to be, I don't want another send out card person to be there. You know, you've got to assure me that you're not going to have another. If I'm the first one to sign up, then I should hold that, be the only one that holds that seat. So for me, it was a clarification with the event organizer. Did that always happen? Even me asking and saying it had to be that way, I actually showed up to one where they had another send-out card person. Go for it. Go.
I'm just gonna add this, one thing of beauty that I really like to promote about Fine Vendor Booth is that she's got all of these, 100+ events, but they're listed categorically. So it just speeds up the effort of searching for appropriate opportunities, and events that might work for you. And then it provides you with contact information, history, attendance, and that kind of stuff, and a link to the event organizer. So then you could just easily contact them and say, are there going to be any more agents there?
Well, the other thing you want
It's
to
all
look at
right at
there
your fingertips.
is if it's a 30 vendor booth event, you want to be the only one there. But if it's 150, there could be other insurance people there, and it wouldn't be.
How can we help you? What's our call to action to help you?
Thank you. Can I put a pin on that one? Go, Yas.
Yes, I wanted to speak on her question.
Okay, go ahead.
Once again, my name is Yasmin, and I have an organization called Yas Nation Vendor Co-op, and it basically addresses that concern. I only have 10 to 15 vendors per event, which is every Saturday and Sunday, and with whatever particular category you're in, you are the only one, because I, once again, as a vendor, I hate to be put in positions like that. So since I'm now over a situation in which I provide space for vendors, I always make sure whatever particular vendor is the only one in that category, because it's a cooperative. And I found that if I'm not competing against someone who's doing the same thing that I do, I can cooperate better versus me competing. So once again, it kind of goes with being a part of a cooperative, which is what we offer. Yes.
No, I have a question for her when you're done. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
yes.
didn't mean to
Hey, Susan.
Okay, you said that, find a way, ask permission to contact them, right? But that doesn't mean I can put them on my mailing list, right?
No,
Can you
you're
clarify that?
asking, you specifically have to say, I'd like to email you later. Can I do that?
Okay.
Now, that said, that first email or two, what we tell them is like, we'd like to send you an email or two to, reintroduce ourselves and stuff. But in those first two emails that we send out, we're asking them to opt in to our email marketing system. So no, we're not automatically putting them into everything that we're doing. I'm from my background in marketing, especially where I'm trying to really build up my email marketing expertise, time and time again, I've seen you're going to end up on a spam list. Your hand's going to be slapped, and that means your list potential is going to drop, because the people that do all that stuff that takes care of your list, they look at that. So you have to let them, in my opinion, you have to let them opt in. I do hear conflicting things on that, but I'm just like, if you want to protect your list, do it the safe way.
This is just an observation.
Sure.
When I attended the vendor booths, almost every one of them has a giveaway, and of course you have to fill it out, and you have to give your email address and your phone number if you want to be eligible for the 50
Whatever
cent
your giveaway
that
is.
they're giving away. Actually, I've won a few very nice things. But
She always win things.
I've noticed that there's very little follow-up. Maybe 2 or 3 out of 20 to 50 people will follow up. And I know
That's
they've
a
got,
whole nother conversation.
yeah.
It is, as I said in the beginning, one of the things that I started out with was the follow-up. And I mean, even as far back as then, I was seeing that very same thing, that people did not consistently follow up after the events. So yes, let's, continue having a conversation. Maybe they'll invite me back and we can continue the conversation into maybe in that arena or something. As for our call to action, we do have an August networking meeting. So one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to host quarterly meetings where we invite the vendor, booth, event marketing people to come out and kind of mix and mingle, get to know each other. We have some education. So that might be a really good way for you to actually help us, is get them to something like that, because that way we can talk about finding vendor booths there in a more atmosphere that's not like that one-on-one thing. Okay.
Complete the survey.
Yeah, don't forget to complete the survey. I appreciate if you do that. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. much. Good job.
Like us on Facebook.
Good job, Gina. All right, we appreciate you guys being here at Talk Shop. If you have any suggestions for us on topics or things you want to hear, please see me or Lynn McDonald there in the yellow. We want to encourage you before you leave today. Well, we want to encourage you to set up a one-on-one, face-to-face with one person, at least one person in this room, or maybe someone that they know. So before you leave today, you have a challenge, and that is make this meeting today count. Get a one-on-one in front of somebody today. You never know who is going to be the catalyst that will take you to the next level. And Lynn, real quick, what is next week's Talk Shop?
Colleges has been in the news. We are having Ms. Charbonnet who's going to talk about getting your child into college and ways you can help college financing. So anybody who's sending a kid off in the next year or two, there you go. Find out the best way to do it.
And if you're interested in advertising with Talk Shop, we will give you a wide platform of ways to get your name, your good name, your business out. Yes, ma'am. Pat.
On that comment, I had a call yesterday from someone that I sold a house to 15, 20 years ago. She's now living in Johnson City, and she has a friend whose daughter's looking for a house, and she Googled my name to try to find me because I'd lost track of her. And she found my video from Talk Shop, and she watched the whole thing. She said, wow, you're not only still in business, but you're just at the top of the heap. And I thought, wow, that was worth everything that I put into Talk Shop.
We'll put you on the radio, WREC 92.1 FM, iHeartRadio. We will put you in print. These flyers go out to different B&I chapters, to business groups like Memphis Investor Group, and wherever you want to put them. And here at Talk Shop, we'll do the River Surge Productions does an awesome job doing various types of video marketing for you that you can put and we put in different places on social media. You get Think Tank, we show you some effective ways to use your social media, and the list goes on.